Well, hello and welcome again to our reading of the Iliad, Book 1, and we were up to about line 413 here. This is after Achilles' speech to his mother Thetis. Ton de me bete peta Thetis katadakro kiusa. So Thetis then, the kata is a preverb with cheo, shedding a tear, replied to him, O moi teknon emon, O my son. Why then, well, it's imperfect but probably meant to be a past tense here. Why did I rear you? Tekusa, aorist feminine participle from tikto, having given birth to you, Ina adverbial here, so grievously. Neuter plurals used for adverbs, of course. Aether is used in wishes, so it's used to introduce a wish. So would that, opheles you could, and then it's an infinitive on the next line. Haesthai, sit. Para neusin, beside the ships, adakrutos kai apamon. So these are both alpha privatives, without tears and without pain. Then, since indeed, there's new toy here, since indeed, the toy is possibly an epic dative here. Isa, now Isa's your lifespan or your lot in life is very minuntha, very short, nor in any way very long. That says the same thing twice. But now eplio is from pelamai, is the verb here, and it's often used just like the verb to be, but it is from pelamai, eplio. So, and it's second person. So now you are okumeros, doomed to quick death, and wretched beyond all men. To, now this is that therefore word here. So therefore, I bore you to an evil fate, to an evil lot. It's that same word we had up here. It's your lotted life. I've borne you to an evil lot in the house. But Eriusa, being about, so saying this word to Zeus, who delights in the thunderbolt, probably toy for you, I myself will go to Olympus. This is a future here. So I myself will go to Olympus with the intention of speaking this word, in fact, to Zeus, who delights in the thunderbolt. And I will go to Olympus, which is Agan Niphon. Now, Niphos is cloud, and Agan is very, very much so very cloudy. If he might be won over, if he might be persuaded. But you, and we get a men and a de here, but you now, sitting beside the swift-going ships, meni this is an epsilon elided here, it's an imperative, rage against, it's that same word we begin the Iliad with, man in aade, so rage against, and this is the verb of course, rage against the Achaeans, and apopaeo, that's an imperative, cease completely, pampan adverbial here, from the war. For Zeus is in ocean, so he's in Oceanus, with the noble Ethiopians. So he went yesterday, so there's the main verb here. So for Zeus yesterday, he went into ocean among the noble Ethiopians, Katadita, for the sake of the feast, so for a feast. But and all the gods, Hepon top, were following along with him. Now, of course, the absence of the gods gives a bit of a break in the story and gives time for Chyseis to be returned to her father. And on the 12th day, he will come again, in fact, to Olympus. And at that time, then I will go to the bronze-floored house of Zeus, and I will beseech him. I will fall at his knees, so I will beseech him, and I think he will be persuaded. So future infinitive. I think him to be about to be persuaded. Hers ara phonesasa apebesata, and thus speaking she went off, and lipe, she left him, ton autu is that adverb meaning there, on that very place. So she left him there, ko'omenon, angry in his heart, and then we get a genitive here, of course, so because of the well-girdled woman, whom they took away. This is from ap ararisco. They took away by force a ekontos. We have to supply autu here for a genitive absolute, or perhaps a genitive after the apo here, from him being unwilling. So against his will. So whom they took against his will, they took off by force. But Odysseus, and interesting here we get a change of the whole scene in the middle of one line. So the scene's going to now change to Odysseus taking the other girl back to her father. And normally in Homer you don't get a change of scenery in the mid-line like this. This is quite interesting here. But, and it's a strong but, Odysseus came into to Chyseis, taking the sacred hekatomb. But they, when they came inside Entos, the Polubenthios, the very deep harbour, Limenos, when they came inside the very deep harbour, Histia Stelanto. Now this is the neuter plural. We get histion is a sail, and not to be confused with histos, which is a mast. So these are the two things. So what we're getting here is the sails, neuter plural. So this is from stello, and it's used in the sense of they furled the masts. So they brought down the sails, sorry. So they furled the sails and they placed them in the black ship. In other words, they let them down, folded them up. Histon, which is now the mast, they caused to draw near. This is from Pelasto. So they brought near, that is, they placed the histon, the mast. They brought it near to the histodoke, the box for holding the mast box. This dock here is connected with decamite. It's the thing that receives the mast, so it's a box that they put the mast in. Hoof entes from hoofiami, so having lowered protanoisi it, so having lowered it using the forestays. So this is a dative of means, by means of the forestays. So having lowered it by means of the forestays, they brought the mast near to the mast box. And they did this carpalimos, quickly. Now the tain here must refer to the ship. So they rowed it, that is the ship, into the hormos, into the harbour, using their oars. Now we get this rather fascinating connection of X here. We get 4 lines beginning with ekte. The unai is an anchor stone. So they cast out the anchor stone, and the kata is a preverb with deo. They tied up the stern ropes, the so-called horses, HAWSERS. They tied up the stern ropes. They tied up the stern ropes, and they themselves, ekbino, they disembarked onto the shore of the sea, and they disembarked the hekatomb for far-shooting Apollo, and they disembarked Chyseis, the daughter of Chyseis, she disembarked from the sea-going ship.